Morning everyone, welcome to this video. I'm going to be showing you how to disassemble the Dell E7240 touchscreen and how to take off the display itself. Now before I start to do it, let me just talk about what you're going to need. You're just going to need a small screwdriver with a Phillips head like so. Let me see if we can focus on that. And then you're going to need some plastic pry tool that you can get between to get bezels off the laptop as well. Or you can use, if you haven't got that, an old bank card will do, or some guitar plectrums as well. And then also what you're going to need is some kind of plastic container, Tupperware container, to put all the different screws in, because you will be taking out lots of different screws. And what's even better than just a plain Tupperware container is actually an ice cube tray. And unfortunately all of my spare ice cube trays are being used at the moment and they're full of screws, so I can't actually show you. But yeah, if you can, use an ice cube tray, because the ice cube tray actually lets you store all the different size screws separately, so it's easier to remember where they go. So the first step, I've just turned the laptop over onto the base, and we're just going to be flipping out the battery, just with the latch at the top of the battery. Take it to your right, and there we go, out comes the battery like so. Let me just get that out of the way. And the next thing we're going to do is, we've got two screws here. We've got a plastic lid or a plastic covering over the rest of the base, and we've got two Phillips screws here and here, and we're just going to quickly take those out. Like so. And then this lid or this cover just slides off. You may have to push it down and slide it off, but then yeah, with a little bit of jiggery pokery you should be able to get it off fairly easily. Okay, so now we're going to take out there are two screws on here labelled K for keyboard, and we are going to be so these screws that are labelled K are here and here. So let me just quickly take those out. And these are slightly different to the screws that we've just taken out. And the next thing we want to do is, under this plastic cover down here, we have got two connections here for the keyboard, and we're just going to flick up the plastic catch, and I can just do that with my fingernails, or you can use one of your spudger tools, and then you can see that the keyboard ribbons or the cables are now loose. So that's fantastic. Now next, there are several screws in the base of the laptop which are labelled P for palm rest, and so we need to take those out. So we're going to start off right down here. This is the first one here. And again, there are different sizes to the screws we've taken out, so just be careful about where you're putting them so you don't mix them up. Okay, that is 4 so far, and then we've got under the plastic cover. And then up here, just above the fan, in the top right, we can see that there's a palm rest screw, and I think we are done. So the next thing you want to take out is just here. There is a screw. You can see that on the edge of my plastic tool. And this is not labelled with any letter or anything, but this actually holds in, secures in the cable for the display cable, where it actually connects into the main circuit board. So I'm just going to take that out and place that carefully there, and then we can maneuver that out of the way, and then that display cable just comes off like so. Okay, so we have got another couple of screws to take out. You're now looking for 2 screws labelled D. These are for actually the they hold the display in place. So you've got one up here, again just above the fan. You can see the silver barrel of my screwdriver. Okay, so there's one there, and there's also one there. That's perfect. So having taken out those screws, the next thing to do is to disconnect the wires from the 2 Wi-Fi cards that we have down here. So you can just see that, and again I'm just using my plastic pry tool just to ease them off. So there's 2 connectors into each of these cards. You actually may only have 1 card. I've actually got, in my version of this Dell, I have got this card here is for the Wi-Fi, and this card here is for mobile broadband. And then just take out all those wires. Just make sure that you take them out from the from where they're so neatly organised within the ducting itself. There's a spare blue wire there that wasn't actually plugged in. Okay, so there we go, like so. Perfect. So having done everything on the base that we need to do, having undone everything on the base we need to do, we're now going to turn it up. I'm going to go to the back of the laptop here, and we can see that we have got 4 screws to undo down here. So we've got a screw here, a screw here, a screw here, and then a screw down here on the end. So let me take those screws out now. Again, they're Phillips screws. Sorry, I'm struggling to catch this with the film it with the video camera while doing it at the same time, while I'm screwing it at the same time. So I apologise for this bad piece of cameramanship. But if I just quickly show you, go along the base here, you can see that those 4 Phillips head screws have now all been removed. And then what we can do is that can just come, so we open the laptop up, so yes, having loosened it, it then just pops up and comes off like that, as you can see. And now we're ready to actually work on the front of the laptop itself. And what we're going to do now is there is a bezel, there is a plastic casing around the keyboard. So we're just going to, I'm just going to put my pry tool underneath it, or put your plectrum or your bank card underneath it, and you can see that it should flip off like so. So we've got some more screws. These are 3 very small ones. They hold the keyboard in place. At the top of it, we've got it here and here and here. So we are just going to right, fantastic. And then the keyboard itself should be ready to just slide out, because we've taken all the ribbons and the connectors away as well. So that comes out. And you can see that we're We're gradually getting there. So the next set of screws to take out are the ones at the front of the laptop. These are also for the palm rest, so just follow along as I do these. So the palm rest screws are all the ones with a silver arrow pointing at them. I'm just actually going to put one back in that I didn't need to unscrew. Okay, you can see I've got this one's being a little bit temperamental and unhelpful, but I've just kind of taken it out with my... So by my reckoning, I have got 9 screws for the palm rest. All of them have been taken out, hopefully, and then the next thing to do is just to undo the remaining cables. So, which I think are, there's 3 of them. The first cable we're going to need to get out is for the actual screen itself, and it's this one here. Use a plastic tool if you have one, or if you've got a pair of fingernails you can just use those. And this monitor cable right at the top of your screen here is, and it's got the silver protective sleeve on it. This is really tough to get out. So I've actually got a pair of tweezers, and I'm actually just very gently pulling it out with that, because that's quite a tricky one. Okay, fantastic. Let's just make sure that's all loosened. And then the next one is this cable here, where the blue, and it's just got a clip, and then I'm just going to that's it, loosen it down here. Then here on the bottom right hand side, there's another cable here, which, there we go, And let me put my glasses back on, and I think we've loosened them all, so that's fantastic. Okay, so I was struggling to get the this palm rest out, and it should just click out, but of course I hadn't taken all the screws out. There was a screw over here on the right hand side. There you go. I will mark it with the tweezers there. That I hadn't taken that one out, and also, silly sod that I am, I hadn't taken these two screws out either side of the docking port. But once you've done that, then basically your palm rest is just held in by a few plastic kind of clicks. Take it out like so, and that's another piece of the laptop that is ready to has been taken out. So then all we've got to do now is we've just got 3 screws. 1, 2, sorry, let me bring this to you. We've got 3 screws, sorry, 4 screws, no, 3 screws, 1, 2, 3 screws that then just hold the whole display to the bottom laptop case. So we just need to take those out there. Okay, so that's 2, and then that's 3. Okay, and then there we go. We've got the cables. These are the cables for the Wi-Fi going through here, so we can take those out. And then this is the cable for this is the cable on the left hand side here for the display, where it was fitting onto the main board. So let me just okay, and with a bit of a little bit of fiddling. There we go. The you can see here that the whole display is off. So that is how you completely take the display away from the Dell E7240. Thanks for watching. So having taken the display off, the next thing we can do is actually look at the fan. So the fan is secured via a Phillips head screw, which is here about 2 o'clock on a clock face, and then it's also got a 4-pin connector here where my screwdriver is, and there's not a lot of room, so it really is kind of in a very tight space. So let me just take this Phillips head screwdriver out. Like so. And then just get under the fan and just kind of carefully lever it out. As I said, it really is put in. There's not an awful lot of space to kind of work with, so just very gently, and then you can just lever it out like so, and then on the 4-pin connector just here where my thumb is, I'm just going to very gently pull. And there we have it. So there's the fan. It is a Sunon, an EG540S1 C130S9A. And you can see, well, I don't know if you can see actually, but it sits in a very tight place surrounded by the heat sink. You can just see the heat sink there. Okay, so that's how you take away the fan. And you can see that my fan is actually incredibly clean. In fact, it looks brand new, doesn't it? So having taken most of the E7240 apart, the screen and display is separated. We've taken the fan out, as you can see. We can now get access to the heatsink. And this is the heatsink here. It is this black metal, almost in the shape of a question mark, and it comes all the way around here to the frame of the laptop. And it's held in with 4 screws here. And again, they're Phillips screws. So we're just going to go with our Phillips screwdriver. And of course, under this section here is the CPU, the processor, which in this laptop I think is an i5 4th or 5th generation, if I'm correct. So I'm just there we go. And once those screws are off, we can just pull the heatsink out. And heat sinks are made of metal. You can see here that it's copper. Copper is an excellent metal that helps to dissipate the heat. It gets the heat. So here's the processor here. We can see it amongst under all of that gunk there. But there's the processor. The processor has electricity running through it when the laptop's on, produces heat energy, and then this copper heat sink takes that energy away. Now heat sinks, if the laptop is used a lot, then over time, because they get hot, they do actually wear down. So it could be, if your laptop is struggling and seems to overheat, and maybe you've checked your fan and there's nothing wrong with your fan, then it could well be that the heatsink needs to be replaced. So that is how you would take it out.